Welcome back. Election Day is now just a few weeks away. According to the Pew Research Center, a record 32 million Latinos are projected to be eligible to vote in the 2020 presidential election. In South Dakota, there are 18,000 eligible Latino voters. A video in Spanish is coming together to encourage people to cast a ballot. Tonight, we introduce you to the local group behind the effort.
No, prepárate.
You might recognize Alex Ramirez. He's the vice chair of the Greater Sioux Falls Chamber of Commerce's board of directors. He's also director of Pulso Hispano, which translates to Hispanic Pulse.
Pulso Hispano is an organization that likes to inform the Hispanic community about what's going on in the city, about the laws of the city, about what's happening in the world, and about events and things that are of interest to the Hispanic community.
The results of November's election will have consequences for everyone, but not all people might feel the same comfort in casting a ballot.
Well, right now, people from the Hispanic community are a little worried about voting. They feel like they're not welcome when they go vote. People ask them if they have papers. People look at them kind of weird, and they're not treated the way everyone is. And so we're putting the video together to try to invite people to come and vote.
John Gregg of Sioux Falls was a part of the video.
Basically, I just looked at the camera and said, "Sí se puede."
The common Spanish phrase means yes, it can happen, or yes, it can be done.
My wife and I believe everybody should vote. We don't really care who you vote for as long as you vote.
This video will be a lot of people from different races and backgrounds coming out and saying, come and vote in Spanish. Vamos a votar.
Voters in the United States come from all backgrounds, all equal in their right to be heard.
It is important that people recognize that we have the right to be here, we have the right to vote, and we invite everyone to vote. Get out there and vote.
Ramirez says the video will air on a local TV show and be posted on social media. A local ministry in Keloland is helping children develop English and Spanish language learning skills through a unique bilingual story time. Caminando Juntos says it looks to create a sense of connection for kids and families. Keloland's Max Hofer has the story.
Ignacio Larios was born in San Diego, California, but he was raised in Mexico for most of his life.
I attended a bilingual school, so we learned both English and Spanish, about 3 hours of each every day.
A task that wasn't without its fair share of challenges.
When you're growing older, I'm definitely still learning, English. You're always learning, and it does come with its challenges, yeah.
He moved to the Sioux Falls area in 2013. Today, he's fluent in both languages. It was that fluency that caught the attention of director and educational coordinator of Caminando Juntos, April Ross.
And she told me that they offer classes, like English classes, for Hispanic immigrants that come to Sioux Falls and the nearby areas.
Now he's assistant teaching in those classes.
I was so excited to go in every week, and they were all excited and ready to learn.
Taking the mission of Caminando Juntos a step further, the ministry now hosts a weekly bilingual story time. They initially planned to do them in person, but the pandemic has them taking a virtual approach.
We wanted to have an activity where parents could join their children in early reading and develop that love of reading from an early age.
The online story time practically leaps off the page as the videos aim to create an interactive experience.
We're going to make a paper flower.
Each story has an activity that goes with it, and the children have to make something or sing a song or do a dance, and they all feature either places in Latin America or famous Hispanic figures.
We read a story about Richie Valens. He is the guy that sang La Bamba.
Larios volunteered to be a teacher for one of those storytime videos.
We did a little craft for young children.
He says he's hoping that what he's learned throughout his life can strike a chord with kids in similar situations.
Even like I was learning about it, and I thought if I was a kid, I'd be thrilled to be reading all these little books and pictures.
The books and the activities that go with them ask the children to stop and think and reflect on different questions that relate to the story, and so it is a point of conversation and connection as well.
Just knowing both languages opens so many doors for them, so it's just amazing to see that doors will be open for them, and then they can help their parents. A lot of their parents are not English speakers, so they build that bond.
Much like how it has bookended his story as the student, who has now become a teacher.
it's really great to be able to pass on that knowledge, I guess.
New episode of Bilingual Storytime air every Saturday. They can be found on either their Facebook or YouTube pages. We have a link to that on KELOLAND.com. Coming up next, the number of Hispanic-owned businesses is growing in KELOLAND.
Nowadays, you find insurance companies, you find construction companies, you name it. It has grown all the way around in the Hispanic community.
From a barbershop and a salsa company in Sioux Falls to two sisters who own restaurants in Sioux City. We'll introduce you to these successful business owners just after the break.